Welcome to a new episode of the Mindset Flex podcast. This is your host, Elise, and today I want to help you. I want to help you with how to actually bring change into your life. So let's say that you decide you want to change your physical life around. You want to start eating better. You want to go to the gym. You want to wake up earlier. You want to maybe start meditating. You want to start your days maybe with journaling or reading some devotionals. Like you just want to overall change your physical being. And by changing your physical being, you want to feel better. You want to think better. You want to be happier, right? We all want that. We want to be happier and healthier. This is actually something that I feel like I have at least one conversation a week about with someone, because they have a really hard time actually bringing that change into their life. Maybe they're struggling with anxiety, struggling with depression, struggling with bad thoughts about the future or maybe about the past. And again, I have some episodes on dealing with anxiety or dealing with depression, some tips. But today we're going to look at it a little differently. And I want to go into actually explaining to you why you may have a hard time changing. Or let's say you have a negative thought habit. Something happened to you and you have a really hard time not constantly thinking about it, bringing yourself down, or something is coming up in your future and you don't know how to not have anxiety about it. So that's what we're going to talk about, is how to actually change this. But to talk about this, let's go into what even happens behind the scenes. Like, why is this so hard to get our minds out of a certain way of thinking? Because how you think and how you feel creates your entire state of being. So if you can't think better than you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by definition, you're thinking in the past, and for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life that you've had. Or maybe it's thoughts about the future. It brings you anxiety. It's still the same thing. You're going to keep creating the same life because you're unable to change your thinking or the way that you're feeling. And this might be a loop that you might be stuck in for a long time. Like some people get stuck in their way of thinking and feeling for years in a negative way, and they become bitter, they become sad, they become depressed or live in anxiety and then have to take pills to feel better, right? So let's say you wake up in the morning, you grab your cup of coffee, you go to the toilet, you get ready, you get dressed, you drive to work the same way, you do the same things, you see the same people, you push the same emotional buttons, and that routine becomes like a program. So now you've lost your free will to a program that you created. There's no invisible hand that's over your life that's creating this. You have done this every single day. So when it comes to time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. And what you do throughout that day, down to the minute, becomes a program in your mind that your mind is going to anticipate. And what do we like? We like to feel safe. We don't like to feel uncomfortable. We like safety. We like comfort. So for our minds, it wants to feel the same things and think the same things. So now 95% of who we are, by the time we are 35 years old, is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that work like a computer program. So if you want to change, like you just wake up one day and you want to change, you have 5% of your mind left. That 5 conscious percent that says, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to change. But your body is on a whole different program. So how do you begin to make those changes? Well, most people wait for a crisis or trauma or disease or diagnosis, some tragedy, to make up their minds to change, right? That's most of us. We're waiting for something major to change. And even after that, a lot of times we do not learn anything until it gets so bad. And my message is, why wait? Why wait for something terrible to happen? Why wait for trauma, for disease? Why wait to learn and change in a state of pain and suffering when you can change from a place of joy and inspiration? Now, most people spend 75% of their life in stress and survival, and they're always anticipating the worst case scenario. And that's also because of your brain. We do this because our brains want to look out for us. It just wants to keep us safe. It wants to keep us, like I said, in comfort mode. So a lot of times you don't even realize that you're conditioning your body into a state of fear. and you use the problems and conditions in your life to reaffirm your limitations so you can at least feel something, right? A lot of times when we say we can't do this or we can't do that, it's literally only from a constant state of believing lies and fears in our minds so that we can predict the future. We can predict how we are because this is how we've always been, right? I hear that all the time. Well, I can't do that because I've always been this way. And my question is, when did you define yourself? Because no one else does that for you. You are the only person who has the power and ability to define who you are and what you're capable of. And the only limitations that you have are the ones that you personally put on yourself. Obviously, we have certain limitations that are bound by this world, right? Like, I still don't have a green card, so I still can't leave the country, things like that. Obviously, that's a real limitation. But anything else on I can't do this or I can't do that because I'm not like that person or I'm not like, whatever I make up in my mind is just a limitation that you created in your mind, and you used the problems and your conditions and your state to reaffirm these limitations. So you can at least feel something, right? But you do this enough and your body will have a freaking panic attack on its own. You don't even have to do anything. You're creating so much fear and so much anxiety, and you're conditioning your brain and your body to live in this. No wonder it's nearly impossible for you to get out. And what most people don't realize is that this is not an overnight thing. This is not something that you just wake up and then you just change. It's a habit that you actually have to get your mind used to. Your willpower is a muscle. So if it takes a long time to train and get your legs strong and build that muscle, if you've ever tried, it takes a long time and it's really hard to build muscle, then it's going to be the same thing with your mind, your brain, your willpower. Your subconscious mind is extremely strong. And just like how it took you years to condition it to be this way, it's going to take a good amount of time to condition it out. So when you say, why am I like this? Now this should make sense, because every time you recall an event that causes anxiety or fear or remorse or panic or jealousy, whatever any of these negative feelings are, anytime you recall this event or the event that you're afraid of in the future, these feelings and thoughts that you've become addicted to, they're producing the same chemistry in your brain and body as if the event is occurring. And it's going to fire and wire the same circuits in your mind. This is so powerful. I need you to really, really, really understand this. Your body is your unconscious mind. If you're sitting there conjuring up the worst case scenario about a future event, your body doesn't know the difference between the event that's taking place in your world at the moment and the emotion alone. So you're constantly reaffirming your emotional state just by thinking negative thoughts and anxious thoughts. And when it comes time to give it up because you want to make a change, you can say, I really want this, but you know you can't. Like at the moment, you're like, I want this, but I can't change. And you feel that way because your physical body has gotten conditioned to this state. Change is hard because being in the unknown is scary. And it's easier to sit in your pain for your mind because it's familiar. But the best way to predict your new unknown future is to create it. So if you really want change, I need you to start with a blank slate and embrace the unknown. It's true. No one actually knows what's going to happen. No one does. And you cannot predict it, even to your best ability. And 95% of the things that you predict in your mind or you conjure up with fear and anxiety don't even happen. So they're really, really pointless. So how do we create this future? Well, you need to ask yourself, what thoughts do you want to fire in your brain? What feelings do you want to have? How do you want to feel on a daily basis? And how do you want to make others feel? Maybe write up a list for yourself. Okay, these are my negative tendencies, or these are the thoughts that get me super triggered, or these are the things that happen throughout the day that get my emotions all going crazy. And you write those down, and you know when that happens, the first step is being aware. So you need to be aware of your negative state of being. And it's going to be hard, especially when you start being aware and you're like, oh my gosh, this is happening so often. And it's going to be so hard to change because there's so much that I need to unwire in my brain. Like I need to decondition my brain from. So first you write this list and you become aware of when these thoughts come up. And then you should write another list on how do you want to feel instead? Like I said, what are the thoughts and the emotions that you do want to feel, that you do want to wire in your brain? And now what I really need you to do is I need you to practice manifestation or meditation or sitting in silence and actually just imagining these things in your mind. Because like I said, and I spoke about this in the last episode as well, your body does not know the difference between your thoughts, like literally the thoughts that create the emotions, versus the real life that's happening. That's why when you watch certain things on social media or you watch videos, it can make you feel a certain way. You watch like a beautiful wedding video, it can make you cry. You watch someone walk over a slack line, it can actually make your palms sweaty, right? Your brain doesn't know that you're just thinking about these things. Your brain has no idea. Your body does not know. So you need to practice manifesting and thinking about the future that you do want. Think about waking up in the morning, like close your eyes and actually picture yourself getting up in the morning and feeling the way that you want to feel. And take yourself through that whole process. It's not easy because your thoughts will come in, but thoughts are like clouds. They come in, it's okay. Don't get mad at them. Let them just drift away and go back to your state of imagining. This is really important. I do this every time I'm in a sauna. I do this with wanting to get my pro card or moving somewhere, living somewhere and waking up and smelling the air around me. Like I always picture myself living among the pine trees. And at the moment, at the Airbnb that I'm at, because I still haven't found a long-term rental, I'm not really in the woods. And I've been in the woods for the past 3 years. And so what I've been doing lately is just waking up and literally imagining myself where I want to wake up. Like I want to wake up in a house where I look outside and there's just pine trees all around me. Like I'm in the woods. That's my happy place. That's what I want to look for. So you can do the same thing with how you want to feel, with what thoughts you want to have when you wake up, when you fall asleep, throughout the day. Maybe it's stressful for you to go to work. Maybe you need to imagine yourself driving to work and having a peaceful state of mind. Maybe it's picking your kids up from school. Maybe it's going to the gym. You have too much anxiety. You feel like you don't know what you're doing. You're not as good as people around you. I need you to literally close your eyes and imagine, how do you want to feel instead? Like close your eyes and imagine yourself walking into the gym super confident, and you scan your tag, you go into the changing room, you put your bag down, you walk upstairs, and you just feel like the world is yours. The world is your oyster, and you're about to have the best hour of your freaking day. And you just go up to one machine, and then you go up to the weights, and then you go up to the squat rack, and you picture yourself doing all of these things, being super confident and knowing what you're doing. Because honestly, anyone can watch a YouTube video. That's how I got started. But it's your mind that creates that confidence to make you feel like you're actually going to get results because you're thinking about it and you're believing it. It's all about what you believe. If you believe that you don't belong there and everyone's judging you, you're not going to be able to have a good workout. And you're not going to have a good state of mind. And you're not even going to walk away from that workout feeling good. But if you believe that you're there to make a change and your body's actually changing with every single rep, with every set, you're actually creating positive change within your physical body, and your muscles are growing and they're also getting stronger, and your body is turning into the dream body that you've always wanted. And you're literally imagining this and feeling how amazing it feels to get to do this. Then your body is not going to know the difference between an anxious state or this state where you fully believe that it's going to bring you the change. And so many times, what I've seen from training people as well is that they lack so much belief about themselves and about their program that they literally undo with their mind, believe it or not, all the hard work that they're doing. They spend so much time in a conscious state, and now their body is literally responding that way. It doesn't want to follow the plan. It doesn't want to eat the foods that's on the plan. And this literally applies and translates to every area, everything in your life. What do you believe? And what do you picture yourself doing? And if you have a really, really, really hard time with your negative thoughts, your anxious thoughts, it's going to take practice because you've conditioned your brain to think fire the circuits in a certain way. Okay. And it's just going to take some unconditioning, but nothing is impossible. And this is work that everybody has to do. This is work that I had to do as well. So this is what I got for you for today. It wasn't a super long one. It was a quick one, but I thought it was a super important one. And I think that if you truly follow this and spend some time in the next few weeks, imagining, closing your eyes, meditating on exactly how you want to feel and what thoughts you want to think, you're going to see your life turn around and change in the direction that you've always wanted to change. So with that, I want you to make the rest of your life the best of your life, the rest of your week the best of your week, and the rest of your day the best of your day. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.